Hi, my name is Amelia and this is my pregnancy vlog. The first video I did, I was 9 weeks along and right now I am 32 weeks. It's been a while, but I didn't really have much to update for my second trimester, but I'm gonna do a summary in this video. In the first video, when I was 9 weeks along, it was a really frustrating time for me because I had a really hard time coping with the morning sickness and all the different hormonal changes in my body, and I had a bit of prenatal depression, and overall it was quite a struggle to digest everything. And I'm very lucky that by the 11th week things started to subside, and by week 12 and entering into my second trimester, I was pretty much very comfortable and functioning very normally. In the second trimester, which was around May of 2021, I was still in Hong Kong and we were planning to move back to Malaysia. Oh, by the way, I am back in Malaysia. So I'm no longer living in Hong Kong. We were planning to move back to Malaysia end of July. It was in May that I felt really normal. It was great. I really got to enjoy May and I started cooking again. I didn't really do as much takeaway because throughout the whole first trimester, especially when I was struggling, there were so many like food aversions and morning sickness that I didn't cook. I pretty much ate takeaway like all the time and I didn't really eat very healthy. And of course, you know, like everybody could criticize saying like you could eat healthier and whatnot, but I could barely function, so I just ate whatever I could. So at least I ate something, and eating supposedly helped with morning sickness, so I was just trying my best. And happily, it was amazing that in the second trimester everything started to, you know, go back to normal, and I started cooking again, and I just pretty much made things that I wanted to eat, which usually were like pastas or grilled chicken. So in the second trimester, there really weren't that many symptoms that I was experiencing. So some days I had good skin, some days my skin was, you know, my complexion, and like I would have a bit of breakout. I also had like a short period of hair loss where my hair fell like crazy. So I really thought I was going bald. I'm like, I thought this comes with postpartum. Like, why am I starting to lose hair so early on? But luckily it was for just maybe 2 weeks. I also at some point slept quite funny because I had a bit of digestion issue, so I was trying to sleep on my side but also elevated. So I think like the spinal muscle was somehow in a bad position throughout the whole night, and it got injured, and I had really bad severe sharp pains in my back, and I had to see a physio to fix it. It might also have been like an old injury that was triggered through the poor sleeping posture. So that was really just a small discomfort during my second trimester. And basically I was running like a small bakery business at that time, so I was just fulfilling some orders and just functioning like normal, so it was amazing. When I was feeling a lot better, I also started taking prenatal Pilates, which I really enjoyed in Hong Kong. I went to this place called Elevate Pilates Studio, which is in Central. I strongly recommend it. Ching was an amazing instructor and I really enjoyed my whole class journey. I wish I started earlier, but I also knew that mentally and physically I couldn't really function in the first trimester. I also started a breastfeeding course with lovebreastfeeding.com. It's by Gina Young. I really quite enjoyed the course. It was very informative. And another thing for me in the second trimester was that my boobs started growing a lot more, and it was a struggle to buy bras. So I was also feeling really warm, so I was trying to buy things that were as 100% cotton as possible, because a lot of clothing material, whether it's like shirts or bras or underwear, they're always made with some kind of polyester, and I was trying to look for like 100% cotton options. So I went with Marks and Spencer a lot, and I had some Uniqlo bras. But right now, knowing what I know, I think I should have just saved all my money buying all the random bras and just started buying nursing bras, especially the stretchable kind. So yeah, if you're looking at buying bras for your growing breasts, I would strongly recommend you just start to buy nursing bras. At least you would be using them if you're breastfeeding later on, as opposed to, I can't imagine what I'm going to do with all these bras that I bought in the second trimester, because they're not going to fit me once I stop breastfeeding or when my boobs grow back to like its original size. And I just think it's probably some money you could save if you just went straight to buying some stretchy nursing bras. So Hong Kong was also getting warm around May, June, and July, and we stayed at Wan Zai, which was insanely warm because of the trapped heat. There were just buildings right next to each other, and there's just no ventilation going on. So going out and just buying groceries and everything was just so warm and such a struggle, and I would sweat so much. We were planning on the move back to Malaysia end of July, and June was really, really hectic. So the whole June was really hectic, partially because I was taking last orders for my cookies. So that was 2-3 weeks of intense baking, because a lot of people were buying cookies to freeze. So I was on my feet a lot, and then it also really tired me out. And every time I have like a really tiring day or a really tiring few days, my body would crash and I would need to rest for the same amount of days. So those days I literally would not be able to do much except sleep, then maybe cook a meal or two. And in July, it was super hectic because we were packing up everything, moving them into boxes and sorting out documentation. We had to bring our dog back, and it was just a lot of things to do, and that kept me quite busy. So when I came to Malaysia and when I was in quarantine, I basically slept the 2 weeks I was in quarantine, because June and July was so busy that I was really worn out by the time I got back here. And I was actually really sad to leave Hong Kong. I was really sad to leave our little apartment, and it was quite a struggle when we stayed that 1 week in the hotel where I couldn't prepare food for myself anymore. We didn't have like kitchen facilities, and basically it was not very convenient staying at a hotel for 1 week before flying off. And the flight process was okay. Landing in Malaysia, I'm in a few Facebook groups regarding travel, and everybody says that Malaysia, it was a very smooth process entering the country when they process your paperwork from the moment you disembark the plane to the moment you get to your quarantine hotel. The process was smooth, but it definitely didn't feel safe, because it didn't really feel like the people on ground were very careful with how they handled like their paperwork. They would touch your phone and not sanitize their hands. It just wasn't a very pleasant experience for me, but the process was smooth. It just wasn't as sanitary as I would hope for it to be. I can't really say what the differences of being pregnant in Hong Kong versus being pregnant in Malaysia are, because since coming back we haven't actually went out at all, apart from the doctor visits. We've been at home because the Malaysia cases have been really high. When we were planning to return, I think the cases were at 3,000 a day, and moving towards the date of our flight, it increased to 8, 9, 10, and right now we're still hovering around the 20,000 mark. So we haven't been going out. In Hong Kong, I had a pretty normal life. We had to wear a mask everywhere, but I was free to go to the supermarket, I could go to the beach, I could go for my Pilates. It was enjoyable in a different sense, but in Malaysia, I do have more space to move around, so it's not so confined. But nonetheless, I'm pretty comfortable just staying in. But I have to say, I definitely did not want to stay in Hong Kong and have the baby in Hong Kong. There are so many factors why not. So cost would be one of it. The cost of having a baby, going for checkups, and just moving to a bigger space is just so high. And also the mentality over there and the people over there. I mean, I'm not exactly used to the Hong Kong mentality and the way the people are. I think I'm much more comfortable with my kid not growing up in Hong Kong, and it Malaysia's just an easy option. I don't know how long we're gonna stay here for. It might be like forever, or it might be for a few years. But what I really miss about Hong Kong is our little apartment where we built our little family together. And I definitely really miss my Chinese doctor. So in the second trimester, when I was feeling better, I saw him weekly, and I would, have Chinese herbs every day. I think he's an amazing doctor. His name is Dr. Ho. He runs this charity, traditional Chinese medicine clinic. And I also really miss my Pilates class with Ching at Elevate Pilates Studio. That's pretty much an update on my second trimester. There really wasn't much happening at that time. And I actually think that the third trimester and the confinement is going to be a lot more interesting. And I just finished a birthing course, and I have a few quite exciting things coming up, like packing my hospital bag, and I'm doing a marriage tea ceremony in a few days. So that is really random during the COVID times. But yeah, I think like the third trimester is definitely a lot more colorful in terms of things that are happening, even though we're in a lockdown and I haven't been out. But yep, it is. I hope to update my little vlog more, and thanks for watching. See you next time.